So after Brentford's win out in Wembley in the Championship playoff, we now know the 20 teams that will make up the 2021-2022 campaign out in the Premier League. But who will come out on top? Will it be Manchester City to make it back-to-back titles? Well, in this video, we're going to take a little look at my early door thoughts heading into the new season. With another early door prediction video today. We're going to take a look at my early door thoughts, of course, for the 2021-2022 campaign for the Premier League, and we'll get to that in just one second. If you're new to the channel, where the heck you been, boys? Smash your subscribe button to keep you bang up to date with all things Blackburn Rovers related, Premier League related, world football related, in the deepest, darkest Georgia. That's right. I'm on the travels right here, right now. But of course, I want to get my early door thoughts out to you as to what I think. Straight hot off the press, of course, the final whistle has just rung in my ears for the Champions League final. I thought, you know what? Let's get my early door thoughts out there to let you know what I think is going to happen next season. There's already been some hokery-pokery, jiggery-pokery, of course, out in the managerial merry-go-round, which is going to have a bit of a say in what goes on next season. But we'll get to that in just a second. Of course, big shout out to the VIPs. They are the Patreons, boys and girls. Thank you for your continued support. But anyway, let's get cracking and give you my thoughts heading into the new season. So right here, right now, of course, what we like to do here is, of course, start smack down in the middle and work our way down. And then, of course, do a big reveal from 10 up to number 1. So we're going to start right here, right now, with number 11. That's right. And I'm going to go with Aston Villa on this one. I do anticipate another strong campaign for them. I don't anticipate any relegation matters. The only major query heading into this summer transfer window is what's going to happen to Jack Grealish. Of course, nothing's going to happen prior to the Euros. Of course, I think if he has a good tournament, the suitors might come out there in thick and fast. But deep down, I still think he's going to stick around at Aston Villa. He is Aston Villa fan by heart. He is the face of the place. I don't think he's going to just jump ship straight away. Of course, the money of Manchester City could be a bit of a lure. So we'll see what happens with that over the summer. So, and again, I think they're strong enough to not be in that relegation discussion. Of course, I don't think they're as strong enough to break into the top 10. So I think another season of safety in mid-table, and I think Dean Smith will do a fantastic job. I don't anticipate anything managerial-wise involving Aston Villa and Dean Smith. Maybe John Terry as assistant, he might move on to pastures new, but I don't think that's going to have too much of effect for them in the end. So into 12th spot, we've got Southampton. That's right, Ralph Hasenhutl's boys. Of course, last season they had a little fairy tale moment when, of course, they were flirting with the top end of the table. But of course, the cream did rise to the crop, and they ended up more closer to the bottom than, of course, the top. So again, I do anticipate another season of that sort of stuff. 12th spot for them, and again, I don't think he will be going anywhere anytime fast. Ralph Hasenhutl. The major question mark for them heading into the transfer window is, of course, Danny Ings. Of course, Spurs were linked with Danny Ings when Mourinho was in charge, and of course with Harry Kane potentially leaving, they could also be looking at maybe bringing in Danny Ings to replace that void if Harry Kane does leave. So that's the major concern for them. Evans, or whatever his name is, not Evans, Che Adams, of course, will be hopefully likely to fill that void by Danny Ings. Of course, get more regular game time, and again, he could have a strong Euros as well with Scotland, so we'll see how all that pans out. But ultimately, yeah, season of okayness, 12th spot, I think they'll take that all day long. So into 13th spot, I've got those six-fingered freakazoids. It is Burnley, of course. The future of that club really depends on Sean Dyche, and of course he has been linked with some jobs. Crystal Palace sniffing around, maybe even Wolves potentially, and there might be even some other little bits of magic going on around with Sean Dyche. He is, of course, tied to Burnley, of course, and I don't see too much temptation out there to lure him away from it. He's a regular face for Burnley. Of course, he's going to get the work done, of course, on a cheap sort of budget. So Burnley will be reluctant to let him go. He does wonders for what he does, and again, it hurts me to say that, but I think Burnley are going to be safe heading into this. Again, the future of their players, of course, Dwight McNeil was a key player, and of course I've seen some links. Leicester City have been linked with him, some other, maybe even Aston Villa as well, potentially if Jack Grealish does leave. I think he could be the guy to fill that void, that creative void as well. But I don't think it's going to be too much of a detrimental effect with Burnley. I think just the main job is keeping Dyche at the helm, and I don't see anything rocking that boat anytime soon. Into 14th spot, I have Brighton over Albion. Of course, the key to that is, of course, if the manager changes at Brighton over Albion, I do expect them to be more in a relegation discussion than, of course, a mid-table safety. Potter's boys have worked a treat last season. Again, he was linked with Spurs, and he could also be linked with other jobs as well as the managerial merry-go-round plays itself out. Again, if the start of the season comes and Potter's in charge, I think they're going to be safe as houses. He's done a fantastic job since he's come in from Swansea. I don't anticipate anything changing there. there. They could be very, very active in the transfer market. I think they need to be if they're going to be pushing further up towards that middle of the pack. But I think right here, right now, I'm calling it 14th spot for Brighton & Hove Albion. So into 15th spot, this is a bit of a weird one here, of course, is Wolverhampton Wanderers. Of course, Nuno Espirito Santo has left. They are looking to bring in Bruno Langer as well from, I think, Benfica was his last role. I've been talking to a lot of fans way into the middle of last season about Bruno Langer, about his potential of being a possible dark horse to be a manager of an English club, and whoever was to get him in would be a bit of a surprise package. And he could come in here as a surprise package, and it could be wrong with this pick. But I think I'm a gut feeling here. First season in here with whoever's in charge at Wolves, going to find it a little bit difficult. And I think they're going to be more towards the bottom than they are towards the top. So I think a 15th spot for Wolves, I think it's a safe bet to think they will be around about that parts. Into 16th spot, I got Newcastle United, with or without Steve Bruce. I think they're going to be safe, which is going to hurt, of course, the Geordies, and I think Ashley and whoever's in charge with Newcastle will be happy with the fact they're in the Premier League. As long as they're churning in the money, they're going to be happy with it, and they're going to keep things as they are. Stevie Bruce is a shrewd businessman. He's not the most attractive footballer here, and he's not really going to allure many big name faces to Newcastle. But of course, there's always that talk about a takeover, and of course the potential that Newcastle do have at being such a huge club fan base wise that they could turn into probably a top 8, top 6 size, but that seems to be further away than it is to happen. So we'll have to wait another year or so before anything like that happens, I think. So next season is going to be another tranquil season, or a season of transition, and it's going to be a season of safety. So I'm going with 16th spot for Newcastle United. So into 17th spot, I've got one of the promoted boys. That is Norwich City. That's right. Farker's boys. They've been a bit of a yo-yo team over the past few seasons. I think they're going to get it just about right this time around. Of course, they'll take this all day long. They'll take 17th space all day long. Of course, Buenda is the key for them, the key ingredient. Of course, Pukki has scored the goals in the Premier League and, of course, in the Championship. And again, he won't be going anywhere anytime soon. He is of that age where he could make a move onto another club. I don't see the attractiveness anyone outside of Carrow Road. I think he'll stay. However, on the flip side, they could get a bit of money for him, and of course, they might go and bring in some other suitable replacements. Of course, so for me, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I have them into 17th spot, and I think they're going to be safe as houses. Into 18th spot, unfortunately. I don't know how I've done this. I've gone with Watford. That's right, going to go down, unfortunately. I don't know. I just got a gut feeling. I'm not too sure about this manager heading into the Premier League. Of course, he came in. He did a fantastic job for the most part, getting Watford promoted automatically. But I think he's another one of those managers you just don't know what you're going to get. For me, I think the question and the mystery around him is probably going to play against him in the end. I think ultimately Watford will have the lack of quality. They do have some really good players, individuals, of course, but I think they've got a bit of an identity crisis at the moment heading into the Premier League. I don't know what you're going to get. Troy Deeney's getting on a little bit. Of course, he is the heartbeat of the club, but I just think they're going to struggle this time around. Unfortunately, they'll be a bit of a yo-yo team for another season and go back down to the Championship into 2022-2023. So into 19th spot, maybe a bit of a bold call here. I've gone with Crystal Palace to go down. That's right. I think Crystal Palace fans are underappreciated the benefits of Roy Hodgson. Roy Hodgson is he gets you what says on the tin, really. He'll get you Premier League safety. He's kind of like Sam Allardyce, but of course more of a subdued sort of mild-mannered sort of man. But of course he's getting on a bit. He may have packed it in for the time being for Premier League management, of course, Crystal Palace. But I think you're going to regret that decision in the short term. Of course, maybe in the long term you might bounce back and of course find a real manager. But of course, linking with yourselves with Frank Lambert potentially and some other names doesn't really get much juices going. If you were to pull in Sean Dyche, maybe it might work out. But again, Sean Dyche and Burnley just about fit. Sean Dyche and Crystal Palace might not fit. So we'll see how that pans out in the summer. Joining them at the bottom, of course, will be Brentford. Unfortunately, first season in the Premier League will be a flash pan appearance. Of course, they will struggle. They will struggle in the first season, but of course, I think they're going to be a sort of a Norwich City sort of deal in the next 5 to 10 years. Bit of a yo-yo team. Maybe they'll make a back-to-back seasons eventually, but not this time around. I think first season they might surprise a few teams along the way, and I don't think they'll go down like a stone. I think they'll have a bit of a competitiveness to them, but ultimately I just think they're going to lack a bit of quality in the end. I think they'll go down, unfortunately. So 20th for Brentford on this one. So into the top half we go. We have the Hammers. That's right, West Ham. Of course, this season has been fantastic for them, finishing in the Europa League spots, and of course they'll have that on their agenda as well. So they'll have a heavy load. Of course, I think Moyes is the right man to keep them going. Of course, they should be content with 10th in the season. But what Will they be? We just don't know. So I think with the added responsibility of Europa League, and of course the squad depth and the squad rotation will be key. But ultimately, I think they will be a lesser team than they were this season. With of course this season primarily all the focus was of course on the Premier League, but they did still fall short of that top four. But again, that wasn't on the agenda. I think they wanted mid-table or even just safety, and they did better than that. So it's going to be a bit of a downward decline for them, but not a sudden decline. Mid-table 10th. I don't anticipate major outs. Maybe Declan Rice could be on his way out. Again, it could all depend on the Euros. Of course, with matey boy from Manchester United, whatever his name is, I can't remember him right at the top of me. What's his name? You know, the fella. My mind's blank. I've had a couple of beers. But anyway, I do think they're going to end up in 10th on this one. Into number 9, we have Tottenham Hotspur on this one. I don't know where they're going. They looks like they're looking at Pochettino bringing him back. How bad is that? How bad a situation is the managerial availability that they go back to Pochettino when they got rid of him in the first place? What was it that he did wrong in the first place to get rid of him in the initial term? I don't know. And to go back, it kind of looks something ain't right there. And I think there are better managers out there, and it just so shows a lack of belief deep down by, of course, Levy and of course the people that make them matter. They're going to lose Harry Kane, I think, no matter what. And of course, going back to Pochettino, you know what? It's a bit of a kick. It's a kick in the teeth for the fans. You know, it's a kick in the teeth for Pochettino. You know, why get rid of me in the first place if you're going to come back with your tail between your legs? I don't know. It just doesn't fit for me, and I think they're going to suffer the consequences for this initial season anyway with 9th. I just think there's going to be 8 teams better off than them, and Spurs are going to be worse for it. So into 8th we have Leeds United. That's right, I'm going bold with Leeds by Elsa's boys. Had a good season, first season back in the Premier League. They're going to kick on from this. They're wise. They've got style of football, and of course if they have a tremendous pre-season, they'll come into this fit and hungry and ready to go again in the new campaign. So yeah, they've been linked with some other faces already early doors in the summer transfer window, and of course if they pan out, then you know what, this top 8 campaign will be good for them. You know what, that could get the older European Conference spot if they're lucky. But yeah, for me, I'm going to go with a bold one on 8th. Into 7th spot now, we're going to go with Arsenal. That's right, even with or without Arteta, I don't know. I think they're going to start the season with Arteta, but I think if things aren't going to be not bright and rosy by December, they're going to be looking to replacing him and bring in the likes of Mourinho, perhaps, if he's having a nightmare at Roma. Who knows? That'll be a bloody right kick in the willy for Chelsea fans, for Spurs fans, for all, of course, Mourinho making the rounds in the Premier League. But that could be the case for Arsenal if things don't get off to a nice start with them. I think they will have a good start to the season, but 7th ultimately will be a bit of a disappointment. I think they're looking to get back into at least the Europa League spots, but realistically, is that enough to please Arsenal fans? No. I've usually backed Arsenal to go well in these, and they've never done so I'm going to predict them to go bad, and maybe they will just go well. So I'm going to go with 7th. Again, these are my early door predictions so far. Into 6th, we're going to go with Leicester City. That's right, we're going to go Leicester on this one. Of course, keeping hold of Rodgers is your main priority, I think. Of course, with Spurs still sniffing around, again, we don't know about the Pochettino if that's 100% legitimate or if they're 100% true, or maybe they're trying to lure out some other interested parties. But of course, maybe some other situations arise for Rodgers as well to move on. But I think he'll stick around. I think the project there, they've got on, just won the FA Cup. Of course, they'll be in Europe, and that will be something to look forward to as defending FA Cup champions as well. And again, they just missed out on the top 4 by narrow margins. Couldn't they go that step on beyond? I think they could. But I think for this time around, they'll finish in 6th. Again, like West Ham, with that added responsibility of course, Europa League football will be a bit of a distraction. Again, I think they could go far in that as well. So we'll see how that pans out into 6th. Into 5th, I've gone with a bit of a bold one on this one. I'm going to go with Everton on this one. Carlo Ancelotti, of course, is a winner. Of course, this first season didn't really pan out, ultimately finishing 8th. They were pushing top 5, top 6 for the good part of the season. I think they'll achieve it this time around. I think they will invest. I think they'll invest in some key players. I think they need some more midfield options, creative-wise. Of course, James Rodriguez is a key ingredient to that. And when you do look at that squad, there is some experience in there. They might need a bit more youth, a bit more pizzazz. Maybe they will bring in Adam Armstrong. Of course, I don't think that's going to be the sort of quality that they'll need to get into 5th spot, but I think they will do that. I think they will invest a sizable chunk of change this season. Will they lose any key players? I don't know. I don't think so. I think they're going to be pretty resolute in holding on to their main men. But again, a strong summer by some of these guys over in the Euros, you might see them moving on to pastures new. So we'll see how all that pans out. It should be a strong and interesting summer, I think, for Everton. So we'll see how they are. I've got them into 5th. So into into fourth spot, I've got Manchester United. That's right. Yeah, well, of course, they finished in second this time around. They could be in the market for Harry Kane. Harry Kane would probably equal the top 2 push. I just don't think he'll go there. I think if he's going to go anywhere, he probably will go Manchester City. Also, Jadon Sancho, I don't really think that's going to be to tick all the boxes. And ultimately, I think Solskjaer is flattering to deceive. I think he's living off fumes, I think, right now. Sort of Alex Ferguson fumes still. We've seen him, the bad calls he's made this season. We see it in the Europa League. He's riding on a little bit of luck, a lot of luck to be fair, and I just think he's going to get found out pretty soon. And again, you know what? If I was offered the chance of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to be manager of Blackburn Rovers, I would say no. I just don't see what he brings to it. He's too, even though he has been proving me wrong a little bit with his stern approaches in games. You can see the reactions that he has on the touchline. There is some fight in there and a bit of grit. So fair play to him for showing a better character in that. But ultimately, I still think they will fall short. But fourth, I think they'll still take that. That of course includes Champions League. So into third spot, I've got Chelsea on this one. Of course, they are the champions of Europe. Big shout out to them. Of course, Tuchel's boys doing fantastically well on that one. But yeah, I think they'll be in the title race. I think this top 3 race will be big, will be huge. But I think they'll just fall short in the end. Again, they'll be a competitor in the Champions League. And of course, Tuchel's boys will be defensively stern. I could be proven wrong. And again, this is my early door picks. Maybe, of course, the transfer window will convert me a little bit once we get to about maybe 2 weeks out or a week out. I'll do another one of these. And of course, maybe my opinion has changed, but we'll keep this on record. But I'm going to go with third on this one. They are looking at maybe bringing in Harry Kane. Of course, they've got a lot of deadwood. They want to get rid of Giroud as well. Maybe Tammy Abraham going out. A lot of faces they want to get rid of to bring in maybe another Galactico for, of course, Chelsea. And if that was the case, again, I'll have to revisit this, of course. But Tuchel staying is paramount, and of course they've got Mason Mount. They've got Paramount Tuchel, but they've got Mason Mount, of course, creativity as well, and Kante. And of course, Reece James, a very, very good era is brewing here with Chelsea, and I think it's maybe another season out before they could start to take control. But for me, I think they're going to finish in third. Into second spot, I do have Manchester City. That's right. Of course, they are the champions. I do think they're going to feel a little bit short this time around. Aguero's goals is going to be hard to fill, even though he had a bit part play to play this season. He wasn't as a regular as he has been. Of course, Foden will be dominant. And again, to finish in second in this what appears to be a very, very strong title race this coming campaign 2021-2022, it shouldn't be seen as a failure. It just shows you just how tough this competition can be at times. And I struggle filling in this top 8, top 10. I thought, you know what, I can't have these guys so low. But it is that hard at the moment. I do think that Manchester City will fall short with a fully strength Liverpool side. And of course, I think they'll be more recharged, more determined to go again after the failings of this season. Of course, the defensive concerns. They'll be happy that they're in the Champions League. Of course, that is of course achievement checked. They met that sort of requirement, but they'll go again much more stronger with, of course, hopefully no major injuries at the back. And I think they'll, with Kunte or whatever it is they just signed, that's another key ingredient for the future of Liverpool. Of course, it'll be interesting to see what happens as an attacking side, also in midfield. Tielemans has also been linked with Leicester City. That'll be a tremendous signing as well. So again, early door picks, I have Manchester City coming into 2, but into number 1, I do have Liverpool. That's right. Of course, Liverpool coming at you with Klopp, Van Dijk. Of course, Mo Salah will probably be still here. And of course, there'll be some other, I'm sure, some very, very exciting new faces as well. Of course, the likes of the exciting prospects of coming through the ranks as well, with, of course, Harvey Elliott. I don't know if he's going to make the grade next season, but of course, Curtis Jones has stepped up to the plate. Trent, of course, delivering from the back as well as Alex Robertson as well on the left-hand side. So they've got all the ingredients. Of course, Alisson with of course the safe pair of hands. As long as these guys stay fit, and that's a big if, they will be contenders. And of course, for my eyes, I'm going to go put them in the books as, of course, favourites. Manchester City will probably be focusing a lot more on the Champions League to get over that line one time around, of course, after the failings of this final against Chelsea. So for me, it is Liverpool to go out as champions once again at 2021-2022 campaign. What do you think? Your early door picks, let me know in the comment section down below. And of course, we'll do it again as, of course, the transfer window gets bubbling and of course the season kicks off. It is early doors. Make sure you check out the links down below on Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, and of course Patreon as well if you want to support the channel in as little or as much as you like, from $1 up to as many dollars as you like. Make sure you check that out. Also check out the link to the Discord. That's wide open. I'm in deepest, darkest Georgia. I'm sweating like a son of a bitch. It is hot as piss. There's probably sweat stains up the yin yang. But we'll do it again. Of course, I'm on the road in a couple of days' time. In fact, tomorrow we are back on the road. So I'll see you soon back at LPA. Until then, I'll see you soon. Smash the thumbs up, smash the subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Till then, I am out.